What's up, everyone? It's the Nomad Brad, and I'm really excited to talk to you with our guests today, Nat and Jodie. And they're going to talk to us about how to build multiple streams of income while traveling the world. And I'm so excited because it's two of my favorite things, and now two of my new favorite people, all combined into one talk. We're going to talk about traveling the world, which obviously I'm the Nomad Brad, love traveling. And how to do that, number one, basically for free, which is kind of amazing. Number two, how to actually make multiple streams of income while you're doing it. I just can't wait. Can't wait for this conversation. So thank you, Nat and Jodie, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us. It's so cool connecting with kindred spirits. Yes, I love it.
Yeah. So I've never really heard... I mean, of course, I've heard about, digital nomads and location independence and all that stuff, but I've never heard of the particular method that you do, or maybe I've heard of it, but I've never seen somebody like you've made a career out of it or a lifestyle out of it, I guess. It's not really a career, but why don't you just tell everybody, what you do and how you came about it?
Cool. All right. Well, I'm Nat, just so you don't get mixed up. There's Jodie. And so we started, our main means of traveling the world is through house sitting. So when a homeowner goes away, we go in and we take over the running of that house, usually looking after pets. So that's our chosen form. And we've been doing that now. It's actually our anniversary today, which is really quite funny that we're having this conversation. 6 years full-time traveling, totally back-to-back house sets all over the world, and it's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I guess the sort of where did it come from thing, tomorrow is literally the start of our 7th year of full-time nomadic living and making money from anywhere. But the coolest part about our story, for those listening, it wasn't cool to live through it, was we actually started our travel experience with just $300 to our name. So we had gone into a business startup in Dubai. We'd been there 16 months and was working with this partner who was just half mental. And everything fell over, and financially we got wiped out. So we were literally left with just $300. We had no credit available to us. We had no savings left, and we didn't really have a lot of income streams in place. But because I had come from the work from home space, I had an understanding of affiliate marketing, we had kind of this little tiny thing dripping in from 5 years earlier, which was just amazing. And it actually saved our bacon a lot of times. Starting off and doing our travels, house sitting gave us a chance to breathe, that we didn't have to actually come up with the rent every week or the cost of living. We just needed to feed ourselves. And we were living in really luxurious, beautiful places all over the place. And about 6 months into it, we're like, what if we just kept doing this? This is actually really cool.
This is actually our dream lifestyle.
We're on a beautiful multi-million-dollar property in southwest France with a 20-meter infinity pool, absolutely incredible, surrounded by vineyards. And even though at the time I'm having to cut Nat's hair with a pair of kitchen scissors because we couldn't afford to go to the hairdresser, we were sort of like, wow, we feel abundant just being here.
Talk about the irony.
Yeah, it was just so that's when we kind of decided we needed to find a way to keep doing it.
I love that. I love that in a lot of your training, your courses, you talk about leverage in so many different ways. And I think a lot of us read the 4-Hour Workweek, of course, and Tim Ferriss kind of introduced this idea of leverage, not just for the sake of making more, but leverage in different ways. That's definitely a massive leverage. You didn't have to do whatever that person did to have the multi-million-dollar property with the infinity pool. You didn't have to do all of that, but you still got to live the lifestyle. And now you've repeated it for 7 years. I can't imagine how many great stories and beautiful locations and wonderful experiences you've had, but it all came from, I think you're both very, very tuned into leverage in many different ways, leveraging your time, leveraging your building online businesses so that it's leveraging
Well, it's even, sorry, I was going to say with businesses, that's kind of a trigger thing for us because we're actually almost even don't want to leverage the concept of a business. And I'll just say up front before Nat takes over, we haven't mastered this yet. Like, we are still navigating waters. But our key thing is to have those multiple income streams rather than having multiple businesses, which just feels heavy and it'd be like we're juggling too much. If we have multiple income streams, then we can be more creative and we can leverage our time and our output of content, etc. So that's sort of where it comes from for us.
Yeah, and I think the other thing we've leveraged too is realizing that instead of having to own a whole bunch of stuff, and I think that's been a lot of the thing in the internet marketing space particularly, is like earn millions of dollars, own the Lamborghini, own the big house and stuff. When you really sit with that, it's like, do you really want to own all that stuff? Like, you want to have the responsibility of, you know, the maintenance on the house and this, that, and the other. When we really looked at that, we went, actually, we don't want any of that. We're quite happy with our 50-pound bags each, and that's all we own in the entire world right now is our 50-pound bags that we travel the world with. And you know what? That's pretty damn amazing. And it feels so freeing because you don't have to worry about anything else. So suddenly we've taken all that pressure off ourselves. You know, this is real minimal living, which is becoming such a thing these days, is the minimalist stuff. And you can see the movement of why that's happening is we're, I guess, getting more conscious as human beings now, and we don't want all the stuff. The stuff has a heaviness to it. It has a weight to you. So when you can just travel the world with a 50-pound bag, go wherever you like, and it's like, wow, that is pretty much what the lifestyle that most millionaires are actually working towards. But they never get there because they've always got to make that extra $1 million, the extra $10,000, or the extra. They're still not quite there yet, and
they can't have enough time. They can't find the time.
Yeah, and it's like, why don't you just have it now? You can actually have it now. You don't have to have that much stuff. And so what happens for us now is we become stewards of everybody else's stuff. So we can go in to a multi-million-dollar property in France. We don't have to look after it. We don't have to do any maintenance. We have our experience for 4 months and we walk out. Awesome. We got to drive their car. We've driven BMWs. We've driven all sorts of cars all over the world, Porsches. We didn't have to worry about any of it. Didn't even have to own it. And it's like, okay, maybe this is the new mentality that we all need to take on, or some of us can take on, in terms of I can just be a steward of these things and still have the experience that I'm wanting to have, because at the end of the day, all you want is the experience of it, without having all the heaviness of owning stuff. And so that's, I guess, where we've come from, which also meant that we didn't have to earn as much money either, because we didn't have to buy all this stuff now. And that relieved just so much pressure on ourselves that we could just travel the world. We did, you know, we only needed a couple $1,000s a month, and suddenly we had a world travel lifestyle, which is what everybody else seems to be working towards. So it's sort of like, I don't know, just shifting it up, becoming a bit more conscious, changing the mentality of how life can be, what a lifestyle actually is. And lifestyle became our number one priority. So it wasn't making money, it was actually having a lifestyle. And so then the money came in to finance that lifestyle.
I have I guess like a personal question on that note, because there was a period where I was making a lot of money as an employee, and I kind of got really into like spiritual stuff, and I wanted to be more minimal, and I minimaled myself right down to living in my sister's attic and not earning any money. I wonder, have you encountered, and I'm sure there's nuance to this, but like, have you encountered seeing that where some people go with the minimal mindset to the point where they've actually kind of like I guess I know that I did it. I kept lowering and lowering and lowering my sort of standards of what I thought I should be earning or whatever. And I was like, because at the core, we agree. I actually don't care about owning stuff. I really don't. But on the flip side, at least maybe with certain beliefs that I had from, growing up, they kind of mixed together to create this like bunch of doubts and fears and stuff. And it kind of created this weird thing where I wasn't taking enough action. Like I wasn't setting high enough standards for myself, because, and then the minimalist thing kind of reinforced it and was like, well, you don't need all that stuff. And at the at the deepest part of it, I'm the same. I just want a backpack. Like all this stuff that I have, I barely have anything in my room, but the things that I do have, I can get rid of them all today. I don't care. Like I really don't. And so I guess it's a little more like just asking your opinion on what happened with me, because that's why, the things like the 10X Grant Cardone thing kind of woke me up out of it, because I took that message and I kind of went in a weird, dark way. Does that make sense? Or have you encountered that with other people as well?
Yeah, I think so. Some stages we've been on that path as well. It's almost a justification for being minimalist, and I don't really need it anyway. So if I only make $100 this week, that's enough. Like it'll buy
right.
food. And so you get to that bare level of survival almost. And I guess that's the difference between surviving and thriving.
Right. And that's what I love about where you're at now, because you're doing both. Like you have a business that really excites you and you have multiple income streams. And so what was it like to find that balance, or how did you do it?
For me, with regards to that kind of getting down to the bare bones type of thing, is we like playing with the concept that every single person on the planet is actually an infinite being, but the ultimate game of life is to pretend that you're not. So we all think that we're not infinite beings and that we can't create whatever it is that we want. And then we've got this sort of societal kind of keeping up with the Joneses. So who was it that was judging you for getting right down to living in your sister's attic when not having an income? Was it you judging you, or was it society on a whole, or was it none of it? Because if the infinite side of you is like, if you really want to see how infinite you are, then go down to actually have nothing. And that's what we've been at plenty of times. Like we physically, particularly in that first year or two of traveling, if we knew money would be coming at some stage, whether it be from something we had done and it hadn't quite hit the PayPal account or whatever, we would literally have to go and sell a pair of earrings at a jeweler or a pawn shop to get some cash to buy the ticket to get to the airport. Like we've lived like that. But the experience of doing that starts to give you faith again that you're always looked after, that you actually, and when you believe that you're always looked after, then you say, well, I'm going to change my game now. I don't need to play the game of having nothing anymore. I'm going to follow my intuition and go to Grant Cardone's event and learn about this whole other way that I could experience a different side of myself. Because if life itself is to just experience things, life, events, learnings, teachings, and we honestly say you should never stop learning. Every single day should be about learning. So you took yourself from being there to going to this event, getting really charged up and fired, and now you've got this kind of, how do I find the balance of, being this and being that? Just keep following the path, just keep following the journey, and say, this is my game of life, and how I'm going to play it is up to me. For us, we had to have the experience of losing, because if we had have left Australia to go to Dubai with the original plan of make a lot of money so we could go traveling, we'd still have a business in the sandpit of the Middle East that we'd be drawn to, that we'd have to go back to. We'd only be able to take little holidays. We didn't want that. We wanted to have the experience of traveling full time. So we needed to lose everything in order to go, wow, who'd have thought it's possible to travel the world for about a third of the cost of living in a fixed location. Therefore, we don't need to earn as much money. Therefore, we can still be experiencing going from Europe to Canada to Costa Rica to Peru to Ecuador to Barbados. Like we've done all these amazing things in our first 2 years of travel, and we didn't earn any more than between us $1,000 a month in what we were creating in the online space. So now we're moving into a new experience of saying, what's it going to be like to create more? We're getting new ideas. We want to create nomad hubs around the world. Well, how do we do that? Well, we need more money to do that. So we're creating more things.
So the game
you have higher aspirations now. Well, you have different aspirations. They're not better. They're just different,
It changed the way we travel. We won't house sit as much as what we have had to do. This year, we don't have a lot of house sits at all. We're actually just staying in different places. It's unfolded that way. So it's sort of, the game is changing. Yeah.
So what are some of the many varied income streams that you've experimented with over these years?
Where shall we start? Well, funnily enough, the very first one was definitely affiliate marketing in the sense of direct selling, so earning a commission for making a sale for something. And along the way of doing that, because you got to remember, even though I had some work from home background with understanding internet marketing and funnels and traffic and all that, Nat literally still types with 2 fingers. She's such a policewoman. Like she hated computers. So I had this struggle of like trying to teach her and inspire her to get into this stuff as well. So what it was that we would go, okay, we need to book this next flight to this next place. How do we make the money to do that? Okay, something shows up, right? Yep, I can go and write press releases, which is an SEO form I can find people and do. So we would do a lot of active income stuff while doing. We sold a lot of softwares. There was an app software that we had been involved in, before we lost everything, and so we sort of became like salespeople for selling the software. So trading time for money in that sense. Talking to people on the phone, doing the press release. But over time, I started to learn about the leverage again, where I had a number of press release clients that I was writing for, but I created a system that taught them how to actually lay it, like pretty much write it themselves. So instead of getting paid $40 for an hour of me writing, I was getting paid $40 for 10 minutes of me submitting the press release. And so, and then it was like, and then I found out if I bought multiple press release credits, I'd get them cheaper. So then I'd leverage my income that way. So we sort of had that going on for a while. We did some coaching, some consulting.
Yeah, I think it's always been our mindset to leverage where we can. Like our natural tendency is towards that, because lifestyle is our number one priority. So our natural, when you put that as a priority, your creativity is going to head in that direction of leverage. We don't want to be sitting behind a computer 24/7 trying to earn an income. So it's sort of like, I could do this. I could do that. We could buy 10 process releases and make it cheaper and make more money. So it was just like really quite funny how it was all unfolding.
But don't ever just forget the fact that be careful of what you wish for, sort of thing, because you actually have to have the experience of it first. So Nat's saying, I don't want to sit behind a computer 24/7. When we made the decision to create our first digital product, our first digital course, we were in Barbados for 3 months on a house set. Like literally the Caribbean, the best beaches in the world, just with a couple of cats. We had freedom to do whatever we want. We sat there and recorded 40 videos and interviewed another however many people. We went to the beach something like 3 times in 3 months because we were sitting there working behind the computer to get this course done. But we had in the back of our mind that if we created that course, then we could sell it. We did the leverage of do the hard work up front and do minimal work ongoingly. So
we have been thinking about the future, I guess, in some ways as well. Like, okay, if we do this now, then we can leverage it in the future. So
did you enjoy the process of creating a product together?
Yeah, we love being on video, so we love doing it. The thing that we didn't love was the next time we were in Barbados, we actually had to build the funnel. And that was back then. Now we use ClickFunnels, which has just been a godsend. But before that, we were trying to do it on WordPress. So we're trying to do a quiz, because we've got different audiences that we're trying to appeal to. So we thought a quiz might work. So we're trying to plug everything in together. Seriously did our heads in. So the next 3 months we're in Barbados. I think we were about to divorce and tear our hair out. Like it was just, and we got to the stage after that. I think our next place was St. Lucia. And we both just fell apart. It was just like, I can't do this anymore. I was off going, I'm going to go and do something entirely different. I can't do house sitting anymore with this whole product. I'm just done. Jodie was like half suicidal. It was just like, this is ridiculous, like trying to make this work.
And what we did out of the back end of that was actually did a virtual summit. We actually got back in and started interviewing people again, because we'd left the tech. It was the biggest lesson of we should have just outsourced the technical part and just done what we're good at, because what we're good at is sitting there and talking to people. And, we recorded recorded so many videos, even with dodgy internet. And it was amazing to run this virtual summit at the end of 2016. So that created another product that we have now been able to leverage. So.
Another income stream.
Yeah.
So obviously you have been at this game for a while and you're always looking, I can tell you're always looking for opportunities for leveraged income. And I love that. Now I suddenly feel understood in a way that I haven't in a while, because I'm trying to think about that too. And then sometimes my like old beliefs or even new beliefs that I do embrace and I do get a lot of value from, like the 10X philosophy, which is, go, go, go. I believe in it and I appreciate it because it is a great way to create results. But then at the back of my mind, I'm always like, yeah, but the leverage thing though, the 4-hour work week thing. And it's not about the 4-hour work week. It's about choosing your life, like it's not about working less. If you want to work more, that's great. If you want to earn more, that's great. It's about building your own lifestyle. And I'm always going back and forth. And so it's cool to hear from you, both thinking about that leverage all the time. Cause I think about that all the time too. Whenever an opportunity comes in front of me, I go, do I want this? Like, even if the reward is high, is it actually something I want to take on?
Yeah. It's definitely not been a linear journey towards that for us, because we started with nothing. Like if you've got,
of course,
$10,000-$20,000 under your belt, yeah, you could,
even 1,000.
Yeah, you could, or a credit card. We don't have credit cards because we lost absolutely everything, literally. So it was sort of like, we don't have any money to put into anything. We have to do the work. So you're either putting in money or you're putting in time. We just had to put in time into stuff to build it up. So we go, okay, let's put a course together. Everybody's asking in our Facebook group how to get started in house sitting. So tired of answering this question. Let's put a course together. Obviously, people are interested in this topic. So we started putting that course together, but it's getting to that stage of like, oh, now we've got to go out and do something active because we haven't got any food. So we've got to go and make some money. So we're backwards and forwards, like for years, trying to make leveraged products and income, but also having to go back to active stuff and drip feeding some of that stuff in too, like doing the consulting, putting on a course, a little, short coaching course type thing that we could pull in a couple $1,000s to buy our next flights and get to the next country. So it has been this backwards and forwards type thing. And I think, yeah, we've had the experience of both, and that's been really good. But it's also made us realize that the leverage is where we actually want to play. That's like, okay, yeah, that is where we want to play, and we have to just keep taking steps towards that.
I like that in your courses, you have this vocabulary that I've never really heard articulated so well, and you just kind of touched on it there. But maybe you could talk to us about the different types of income. You have the active, you have the different strategies. And I love that you have that vocabulary. And I think for anybody watching this who's trying to just find different ways to think and different ways to the ability to look for different opportunities that could provide whatever lifestyle you're looking for, I think you have really great strategies and vocabulary around that. So let's talk about those different types of income.
Yeah,
and some examples.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about active before, so that trading time for money, that's pretty much what you have when you have a job, or if you're a freelancer. So while trying to do the work, because a leveraged income for us, so the first one's active, second one's leveraged, and third one is residual / passive, depending on what word you like to use. But with your active income, your trading time for money, and with your leveraged income, you've got to put a lot of work in up front. So you've got limited hours in the day to be able to kind of swap between your job or your trading time for money task or freelance and building your course of what whether it's a leverage thing or whether you're studying, say, your Bing's ad academy, so that you can go and start to put your ads on, so that you can start to build that leverage income stream. So then you've got the passive and residual income, and nearly everything starts with doing some sort of work up front. But if you look at those three things and say, well, how much time have I physically got to allocate to each one, knowing that trading time for money is just in out. Like I can say I've got 5 hours a day to do that. And then it's like, well, if I put in 2 or 3 hours a day to do the hard work now, building that up, which will actually lead into the residual and passive income as well. How many hours can I put into that? So at different times through our journey, we've gotten to a stage where it's like, oh, we got so absorbed into building our courses or study or reinvesting what we've earned into studying, and we get lost in the program that we're studying at the time. And then it's like, oh crap, we've got to buy that flight again to get to the next place. We need to drop all that and
so
move
I've got
back
2 days to buy a flight.
Yeah, and move back over to getting an active income. And every single step of the way, we learn skills. So our more recent active income has actually been, funnily enough, the lady who types with 2 fingers can build funnels for people now. Yep. So it's sort of, we don't advertise that. We don't advertise that we do that work. But when it suits us to go, right, we need to bring in an active income so we can leverage our time to go back and study. Brad's being at Academy right now. So we'll do that work in order to have enough money to kind of float through or do this, or like Rachel was talking about. I mean, we came across you because you put a video out with Rachel S. Lee. We've been following her on YouTube. It all joins up, it all interconnects. And it's like her saying, yeah, I take my 30 grand a month and I reinvest it back into my business. Well, we've been doing the same thing. Like everything that we do, reinvest, and it's generally in the learning, because we do love to learn and you know, take on new things and add to those multiple income streams.
But it's been interesting, the journey. It's almost like buying yourself time. So it's sort of like, okay, if I can go out and earn $2,000 in an active income right now, that will buy me a month of being able to learn or put this product together. And so that's sort of the way we've looked at it in some ways.
I'm learning so much. You just helped me categorize so many different experiences that all seemed like a jumbled mess. And now I can quickly think like, oh, that was when I needed active income. That's when I was working. Oh, this is making so much sense now. This is so cool. Yeah. So as far as helping other people to understand this and get started, what's the journey that you typically see people go through? Like, do you, there's so many there's so many strategies for all these, especially online. There's funnel building and all this stuff, but in general, the people that you see come through your programs and your training and your group, where is the most logical place to start for most people? And what does that journey usually look like?
I don't know if it's logical. I think it's more comfortable for people to start in an active income.
Okay.
Because I think back in the 1800s, everybody had an industrial entrepreneurial mindset. So there was very few employees. Most people were entrepreneurial of some description, industrial. Now it's changed the other way. So 90% of people are job related and their employee mentality. And only a few of us are truly entrepreneurial in terms of, I think I'm psychologically unemployable now and I have to be an entrepreneur. So I think the most comfortable place for people to start is an active income.
But the cool part with that, though, is that it was about 8 years ago, we read an article that said by the year 2020, half the US workforce would be location independent or have the ability to be.
Yeah.
And we're a year away from that at the time of this recording, which basically says you can still have a job, but you can have a remote job. You can work from on the road, you can work from home, you can work, and that's become very, very real. So that embedding that Nat's talking about is just like, yeah, I need to get a remote job. I'm going to go and find a remote job. And then the next level from that tends to be, okay, where can I find work? And which can lead into freelance stuff. Can I be a virtual assistant? Can I be a web developer? Can I do social media management for someone else? I mean, I guess even you kind of started like that. Like you started your journey of learning this by working for somebody else.
Yeah. And then going to having clients and stuff, and then eventually building businesses.
But how cool is it that you got paid to learn?
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah. I guess there was just this there was an awkward couple of years there, which I was talking about earlier, the sort of dark times. I see them now where I was doing none of them really. I was doing something that was beneficial in a way, which I was studying. I read like over 100 books in that year, and I was building a product. It was just a product that I never really found a good fit for a market for. So I was learning stuff, but I wasn't making any money. And the important part was that it made me quite stressed a lot, so.
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
a lot of it starts with that side hustle thing too, is people have an active income, but then on the weekends or at night or whenever you can find time, you are doing something else that's more leveraged, and really thinking along those leveraged lines. So if you're a coach or consultant, obviously there's only so many hours in the day that you can catch up one-on-one with somebody. So it's sort of like, could I start doing group coaching and start maximizing my time that way and multiplying my time 10x? Put the hat on. Could I write a book with the knowledge that I've got and put that out there instead? Could I put a course together? So it's like, how can I take the knowledge that I've already got? And this goes for anyone. It doesn't, you don't have to be a coach or consultant. Can I take the knowledge and expertise? Because everyone has an expert in something that somebody else needs to learn about. Can it be YouTube videos? And I can start creating YouTube videos about my knowledge of WordPress that I know really well, that could help train people. And then I start getting a following, and then I start to become an influencer. And so there's all different ways of doing that. But it is about, I feel, about the willingness to actually share the knowledge that you have without judging it about whether somebody would be interested or not. Everyone is interested in, there's always someone interested in everything in the world and could learn from you.
The biggest advice that I can give anybody right now, and our passion really is to help as many people as possible discover that they can have a work from anywhere existence. And if that's working from home, that's awesome. If it's working on a train while you're traveling through Europe, that's awesome. If it's, house sitting your way around the world to discover where you might want to become an expat when you retire, that's awesome. Whatever it is, being location independent, we want to help you be an affiliate by understanding that this is a reality way of having a more leveraged income rather than just trading time for money or building courses or doing. So when we discovered you, and we're kind of like, how can we kind of describe this? It's I can't quite get the words for it, but basically you've done what we wanted to do in creating your Nomad Affiliate Academy and teaching those basics. So for us now to really dive into our next level is to actually do something we didn't think we'd ever do, which is be an affiliate for something we've not physically used, something we don't have a personal recommendation for. Because doing your Bing's ad bootcamp, we need to resonate with it. So like yesterday, we found a few products that we resonated with. We haven't got a direct experience of it. We've only ever been word of mouth type of salespeople or affiliate marketers. But now it's like, what if this works? What if this actually, we can just be a traffic driver as opposed to being a salesperson? And this is opening up a whole new world for us as well. Another income stream that will help finance these other things that we want to do so we can keep putting our time back into helping other people get this.
Yeah, there's definitely two different approaches to affiliate marketing, and I kind of subscribe to both. On one hand, I do see the value in, like recommending products that you love and all that stuff. It makes it much easier to sell it personally. On the other hand, I also resonate with that sort of like, being a nerd on a computer in a dark dungeon somewhere and just sending clicks and just looking at the numbers. Like those are the two sides of affiliate marketing. There's like one camp that's like, you got to believe in your product. You got to use it all the time and you recommend it. Like a lot of people in like ClickFunnels or Builderall communities, and they disagree with each other, but they're both doing the same thing. Now me, I personally am like, well, they both are great affiliate programs and I make money from both of them. So I don't know. I'm still kind of like in between on those things right now. Like I like them both. I like recommending something that I can be like, oh, absolutely guaranteed. You have to get ClickFunnels. I run my whole business on it. Like I trust it. Like you can trust me, all that stuff. But then there's another part of me that's like, but I also just like seeing the clicks and the numbers and like doing the math and just being like, hey, look at that, a stream of money. That's pretty cool.
Depends on where you're going to advertise. So if you're going to do YouTube videos and fly the flag for a particular product, you probably would have wanted to have used it.
It's your
That's
It's your face, it's your story. Like, you know,
that's
there's
true.
no selling of it, then your own advertorial of it. Of like, this was my experience. This is my journey of how I got started with this product, and I love it. It's changed my life. Blah blah blah. But I'm like you. I love behind the scenes as well as flying the flag on a YouTube video. I love the numbers. We both do. We both love the numbers, doing the keyword research. So Bing now is showing up as a little bit more of interest to us as well. We'll do both. So I think it'll be for products that we know and love, and it'll be products that we've probably never used, but sounds pretty good. And we've had
the clicks.
We got the clicks. We want to have that experience of, oh, well, I wonder what this sort of marketing is like. And to me, it's just a different experience of seeing whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I experienced that as well. I mean, there's definitely an appeal to building. I mean, I have built some like weird niche like websites and stuff. And one thing is that we all love marketing, and what marketing to a market that you don't actively participate in can teach you a lot. You can learn. I always think of it as like meta marketing. Like you learn the overarching principles of marketing better and better the more times you see the same principles work again and again, even if you don't understand the niche in and out, because you know, talk about leverage, like you don't have all the time in the world to understand every single niche, like, you know, but you can apply the skill set of marketing to help people in that niche, even if you never talk to them and you've never experienced the product, if the product is helping them. I mean, you know, I did a lot of time studying like paid traffic. So paid traffic, actually, this might be the breakdown. No, it's not the breakdown, because free traffic people can also build niche sites that never show their face, of course. But a lot of paid traffic affiliates will promote anything, right? Like a lot of people used to start out with promoting like dating sites, and a lot of the dating sites, to be honest, it's not even whether or not you think dating sites are okay. They actually are not. They're not functional. They don't even work. They're just a bunch of bots, and they just basically like extract money out of people's pockets, and it's like a whole business model. So, but the thing is, when you're doing the paid traffic thing, you're just like, well, I put in $1 and I made $1.50. That's pretty cool. I don't really know what's happening after it, and it's not my responsibility.
Yeah. For us, it's been a fascination in psychology and human behavior. Like that is our interest and consciousness.
Yeah, that's it.
So it doesn't matter what you're promoting, how you're promoting it, or anything like that, what the figures are. It's like, I wonder how people will respond to this. I wonder how people will respond if I did that. And it's sort of more, for us, that's the game. That is
the game. You're right.
Yeah.
And the better that we get at that skill, the more people we can help as marketers.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not always a one-to-one, you know, hi, shake my hand and buy this product for me, and you can call me anytime you want, you know, sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Psychology is the game. If I test this thing, which I think sounds ridiculous, and it gets a 20% higher click-through rate, well, apparently, even though I, with my principles, think it's ridiculous, the actual people out there who are looking for this respond to it. So what do I know?
It is. Yeah. That is what it's like when you go through that list of the top products on ClickBank. You seriously have to get over your own judgments. It's like your judgments mean squat. You know,
almost like you need to become more conscious and less judgmental of where humans are at, or where an individual is at, and just, okay, I'm going to put this out and allow this person to have this particular interest or respond to something in their way. Yeah. So quite interesting.
Yeah, I definitely experienced all of the spectrum of that working in the dating industry, because
that's it.
You know, I believed in the product. I was a coach in the dating world myself, and I was like really passionate about it, and I believed that it was a force of good in the world. And then what we discovered was the marketing that gets people to pay attention is not what we expected, and if you would have asked us, we would have been like, nah, we would never say stuff like that. But then when the sales started pouring in, it was like, okay. Then the next thing we thought was, Well, we're meeting them where they're at, which is pain, frustration, and
Rising them up.
And
then when they get into the product, that's when we teach them like real good things, and we teach them that they're going to have to improve themselves, or then we get them into the coaching programs, and then they really have to improve themselves, and then they have personal experiences and emotional things. And so yeah,
almost like you're playing your part in the raising of consciousness and awareness for people, is that you meet them where they're at, but you take them on a journey, whether you're creating your own product or you're affiliate marketing, you're still doing that.
Right.
I think to me that's playing the part in the human game of raising awareness and consciousness.
So I guess, we have lots of great conversation here, and I'm loving it.
We better
go. I'm still curious, like the process that people go through. I guess I'm asking for myself, and maybe, obviously I've kind of found a path here on my own, but me 2 years ago or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever I was like sitting in my sister's attic and I actually like stopped watching, this is how I was misinterpreting the message. I think I would stop watching travel shows because they made me ache so badly for travel. I love travel so much. And I would I would not allow myself to watch like Anthony Bourdain because it would make my heart hurt, because I wanted to travel so bad, but I was like, but no, I'm here where I am, where I deserve to be, being punished for my sins, and, anyways, getting real dark. But my point is, if you could have reached out to that person, and never mind the darkness, just assume that I was just like a normal person who just hadn't figured out how to do the nomad lifestyle yet. Like, how do you start that process for people? I know they come in from all different. You have people who are retired and looking to enjoy their retirement. You have people who have businesses that want to add revenue streams or add some of the lifestyle components. You have people who are complete beginners. So what's the most common, progression of that? Like what
awareness? Like, you've got to be aware that those things even exist. Like things like housing,
Yeah.
The two biggest costs in travel is accommodation and flight. And if we can go house sitting, then your accommodation bill is zero. Take that away. There's flight hacks that you can learn very easily that gets you cheap flights every single time you fly, not just when the sales are on. So if you put those two things together, suddenly a travel lifestyle becomes very doable. In fact, it's cheaper than living at home. So it's sort of like, I think that's the first step, is you've got to be aware that these things even exist. And then the mind can start to shift, because they're all just paradigm shifts at the end of the day. It's like suddenly you go from unawareness to possibility to hope to, you're going through all the scales of emotions of like, oh my God, maybe I could do this. Like this, somebody else is doing this. And so the sharing of our own story of $300 starting out travel, that's not a bullshit story. That's exactly what happened to us. Suddenly gives people hope that, oh my God, I actually don't have, the thing that's holding me back is money. It's not family. Sometimes people are held back for different family things or whatever. But if money is the thing and we tell our stories, suddenly that paradigm shift happens for somebody. The penny drops and go, shit, if they can do that, I've actually got $1,000. I actually could start this right now. I've just got to learn the skills of how to manage that $1,000 I've got.
But it's about looking at your own comfort zones too, your own comfort levels. The only reason we were able to say yes to not running back to Australia with our tail between our legs in our 40s going, oh, Mum and Dad, we screwed up.
Can we live with you?
Can we live with you? The only thing that stopped us at that point in time was actually a little bit of pride, but a lot of what we'd been studying. Like the only way that we even came together as a partnership was because of a personal development program that we met at. And it was about learning to see life as a game and you choose the game you want to play. So we literally threw caution to the wind and went, do you want to see if this will work? Like, we can't work it out at the moment. We can't work out in our head. We are so depressed and so like devastated as to what has financially happened to us. And then as we're leaving Dubai, because Nat had cancelled her visa 3 days too early, they hit us with a fine at the airport as we're leaving Dubai for overstaying a visa. We just wanted to just do, it was like a massive, like do the bird to say, we're out of here now. Like, you guys suck. We've got to leave. And yeah, it was like this rubbing salt into the wound type of thing. But we needed to experience that in order to go, let's just see if this game of life actually does have our back. Now, we went to that level of experience. Nobody else needs to. We did it for you. So now we get to just tell our story and share our story. So when it comes to coming in and saying, right, yep, awareness, it's about us telling our story. It's about us finding where people are at and, you know, having that faith or that hope that you can do this by learning, and hopefully our courses will help people learn. So whether it is to have a full travel lifestyle plan, whether it is to start to build what can be a roaming income, which is a little bit like what you're doing. You're rebuilding your whole entire foundations to have a leveraged income so that when you do go traveling and you don't want to sit on the computer every day of the week, that you can really enjoy your travels knowing that your money's still clicking back over. So we've got a lot of people in our community, they're in preparation stage. They're not going to travel for another 2 years till the kids leave school or whatever the life circumstance is. We've got a lot of people that, you know, didn't even think they were going to go and, you know, do this. They thought they were just going to become an expat in one country. And then they're like, why just be an expat in one country when I can actually go to all these other places? So everyone's at a different level. Some people just want to do it for a year, do like an adult gap year and go and just take off and see how that feels. So wherever somebody's at, what we've created in our courses is to help you say, well, focus on your income with the Roaming Income Club. Focus on building up your house sitting resume so that you're going to get the jobs that you want to get where they are. And when we say jobs, when you're international, you don't get paid. So you have to have an income stream of your own because you will not get paid as an international house sitter.
And that's why you call your program the Roaming Income Club, which I love.
Project, yeah.
Oh, project. But roaming income. So let's just talk about that for a second. Like, what sort of things can people use to build a roaming income? Because seriously, if I would have heard that a few years ago, I would have done anything to join your program. Now I'm part of your program, so I'm excited. But so what are some of the examples of roaming income that you've seen over the years or that you've helped people to see?
So after this interview, because we recorded you earlier, you're going straight into the roaming income because one of the income streams is about affiliate marketing.
Nice.
So if somebody can start that as a side hustle and get into that mindset of affiliate marketing, then that's definitely one of the choices. So inside the Roaming Income Club, we've laid out active income types, leveraged income types, and passive and residual income types. And we have interviewed people who are doing it. So there's a social media manager who teaches people how to become a social media manager. There's virtual assistants. There's people who do print on demand, and they've done it since like 2008.
And there's Zazzle Store.
Yeah, their Zazzle Store kicks ass, and they create a course on how to do that. So we interview them. And then we go right back to the active stuff where it's like, you just want a job? Well, we've interviewed Taylor Lane from Remote Like Me, who does job boards for people and help them get jobs, working for companies that take on remote workers. So there's a whole sort of buffet of choice in there for you to kind of go and have a little taste test of and say, that feels right, that one doesn't feel right. Even through to the offline stuff where if you're thinking about running retreats or events in different parts of the world, would you be that conference or event coordinator? So there's a range of different things, and we keep adding as we meet more people doing new and interesting things. We add it in there. Now, we don't want to have it be an overwhelmed thing. That's why we've got all of our little lessons around the whole sort of choose something.
Make a choice, yeah.
Choose something that is active. Think about what will be the leveraged, and have a goal of making that passive and residual. Mm-hmm. So the Roaming Income Club starts as an awareness thing, because some people might be sitting there right now going, I'm not sure about affiliate marketing, or the way that they're talking. Like, I couldn't do a video, but I could do I could do the paid advertising. It was like, well, this is one income stream you can get into, but maybe you might want to look at these other things that happen, like print on demand or writing a book or, you know, whatever, Kindle stores, e-commerce, drop shipping, all sorts of stuff. But you've got to be aware that they exist first, and it's kind of an awareness product.
The thing I like about the Roaming Income Club is that we went out and we interviewed travelers. So people that are actually already doing this. So they're not the gurus that are making millions of dollars and stuff like that. Because I think that when you're first starting out, particularly, then there's no bridge between those two things. Your mind can't even comprehend that sort of money. Even $1,000 a day for somebody who has never experienced that is such a mind leap. It's almost like, I can't do that. It's the vision board thing. It's out there. I'm here. And how do I get there? So by having travelers tell their story, and we asked them, how did you get started? And it's like, oh, I sold up everything, or I did this, I did that. And I just got started, you know, I started studying it and that, and then they're giving their steps of how to, for that person to get started as well, like the mistakes they've made, the things that they would do different. So it makes it very doable for people in the Roaming Income Club. It's the very base level, realistic. Okay, this is this, and how much time would it take as well? Like how much effort has to go into creating this? Because you have to decide that if you're having a travel lifestyle, do I want to spend 3 months putting my book together? Maybe not. Okay, so that's not for me. I want to go and do something else.
But then again, if you're house sitting, what a great way to write a book.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I love so much of what you guys do. I love that model of having like a buffet of choices. I know a lot of people say to, you know, focus on one thing, but if you don't know what all the options are, you don't know what to focus on. A lot of people struggle with that because they're getting hit with ads all the time and the different YouTube, you know, start a Shopify store, do Bing ads, do, you know, affiliate marketing, do ClickBank, do whatever. It's so confusing for people. And I had this experience in the past year that I've talked about where I basically bought like every course. I was like, okay, I'm all in on Shopify. And then a month later, I'm like, okay, shit, I just got this course about YouTube. I'm all in on YouTube. So I start the YouTube thing. And then I was all in on SEO. And by the way, this is how, you know, I've gotten to where I am. And one of them is like print on demand. Like I learned that. And I had to try all these different things to find eventually the combination of them that I loved. And for some people, maybe it's not a combination. It's just one thing that they're just like, hey, you know, YouTube all the way. But I love that you present all those options. And the big lesson that I learned from buying all these courses and doing them was that they all work. Like someone out there is doing it, like, you know, Amazon FBA, Amazon, like whatever, like they all work. Every single system that I tried, if I followed the system, it produced some sort of result. So then at the end of the day, I was like, okay, I've tried all these dozens of things. They all have worked to some degree. I guess now what I should do, instead of getting small incremental improvements in any of them that I actually try, I should pick 1 or 2 or 3 that really work for me and go for it, you know? Yeah. And that's what I did. And I just love that that's how you've approached this. You've given everybody different options of what's possible, what's available. And then from there,
it opens up the multiple income streams, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's another good point is once you get one down, why not try writing a book? Okay. Well, what's this print on demand thing all about? I didn't know anything about it, but let me learn from an expert. Hey, I could do that. I already have a YouTube channel. I bet my YouTube people would love some print on demand stuff.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people beat themselves up because they're trying to find that one thing. Like, what's my
exactly.
One? Particularly if you've gone down the spiritual path, it's what's my mission? What's my purpose in life? And I feel, and I think we both agree, is like you're going to have interests in so many different things over your lifetime. Different interests in different topics, but also different ways you want to put in, information out to the world and stuff as well. So why not do them all? Just don't do them all in one hit. You've got years of doing this. You can have 20 years of actually putting out stuff. So it's sort of like, take your time, like just have them on the path and stuff like that. Just choose one right now, go for it. May not be it, might be it. Then move on to the next thing. And I think that's where that brings in that don't necessarily focus on a business, because when you have a business, you're known as one thing. So if we had a house sitting business, that's all we could ever be. And so we would have to then start another business to go and do something different. Whereas we've been able to, because they're just creative projects for us, we've been interested in house sitting, but now we're talking about roaming income because that's where it naturally, consciously led to. And our creativity took us there. So now we've been able to move this audience into this one naturally because they're just following the flow like we're doing. So I think it's just this journey of flowing of creativity and allowing your creativity to go wherever it takes you to, and trusting that, you know, if you're interested in something different next month, so be it. Like, who cares?
I love that. So I've definitely learned so much from this talk today. So thank you so much for being here. And I highly recommend anyone who's resonated with anything we've talked about, check out the training from Nat and Jodie. Below this video, there should be a link. I mean, I just love everything that you do. I love the whole philosophy. I love, you know, enabling and empowering travelers to realize that life is possible. I definitely think it's a message that needs to get out there to as many people that need to hear it as possible. So yeah, if you liked anything, if you're curious about different business models for making money, you know, from leveraging your time and being able to travel and create the lifestyle that you want, there's no two better people than Nat and Jodie to teach you all of those skills. So check out the links below this video and you can learn from them. Anything else to add, ladies?
Probably just the final thought for me with regards to tapping into your creativity is not just being about a creative person. Like, you don't have to be an artist or a musician or whatever, but your creativity is the ability to learn, the ability to write that ad, create that video, write that blog post, and put your content out to the world. And for us personally, travel has opened up that creative flow. We have become different people to when we were back in Australia, just living, working from home, because we have a much broader view of the world. We have a much more tolerant and accepting view of everything in life. And it's all come because of travel. So why work at home to save up to go travel when you can go travel and build your online income streams as you're doing it? That's our philosophy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here and telling us your story. And definitely check out the links below this video to learn more from Nat and Jodie and start building your travel lifestyle of your dreams.
Do it now.
All right. Talk to you later.
We haven't got a globe.